All right, how you doing? So August 5th, 2004, in a town called Najaf, Iraq, that's in between Baghdad and southern Iraq, there was a conflict that broke out between the Marines and the Middle Army, which was ran by Cleric Muhammad al-Assad. And there was a ceasefire, but the ceasefire was broken when the Middle Army hijacked the police station in Najaf, took the police officers' weapons, and pretty much hijacked the whole city. So I was in a convoy that was going through the city, and we hadn't went that route before. And the convoy was ambushed, the ceasefire was broken, and we were in a severe ambush. 5 guys got shot, 1 guy got killed, my truck got shot up. And here's a little background on this conflict. So we got in town about 1400 local time, and like I said, in this particular town, it was like one of the holiest cities in the Muslim world in that particular area, region of the country. And this is called Najaf. They have a cemetery and they have a mosque, which is like a national shrine. So there's no combat allowed in them areas. So what the insurgents were doing were they were hiding in the mosque, hiding in the cemetery, and they were pretty much sniping us from the cemetery and from the mosque. So a little background on this right here. So it was called the Battle of Najaf. It's on the History Channel. So basically the date was from August 5th, 2004 to August 27, 2004. Location Najaf. Result, ceasefire, coalition victory. The territory was Najaf, Iraq. The Middle Army was the enemy, and they withdrew from the city. Coalition forces take control of the city. So pretty much a quick rundown before I tell the story. So the major conflict began on August 5th when the Middle Army attacked the Iraq police station at 1 a.m. Their first attack was repelled, but MA regrouped and attacked again at 3 a.m. Soon after, a quick reaction force from the Marine Expeditionary Unit, VR-14, dispatched at the request of Governor of Najaf. Around 11 a.m., QRF came under heavy machine gun fire after a mortar round from the Middle Army within Wadi al-Salim, the largest cemetery in the Muslim world, approximately 7 square miles squared. The cemetery has been layered over the centuries, resulting in large underground tombs, tunnels, and surface monuments, many reaching 2 stories tall. The Marines from the 1/4 fought across this inhospitable terrain and under in some of the first tunnel fighting since Vietnam. This was very dangerous and very gruesome battle. So as I said before, when I first got to Camp Baker, we ran to the guys from Blackwater. They were holding down the compound, Blackwater and the guys from the El Salvadoran Army. And when we got there, I told you about the El Salvadoran Army, ran out of ammunition. They stabbed their way back to Camp Baker. And they were pretty much the biggest heroes in the whole Iraq war, but nobody really knows about that. So continuing on, as the U.S. Marines, UN-1A helicopter was shot down by small arms fire. That's when I got in town, when the Marine helicopter got shot down, and that's when we got into the city. The second day of fighting while conducting a close air support mission over enemy positions, the crew survived. For U.S. military personnel were killed. 4 U.S. military personnel were killed. Heavy street battles fought between the Middle Army and the U.S. and Iraq forces until the MU, which is Marines, withdrew temporarily on 7 August during the fighting. Half a dozen U.S. Abrams tanks and Bradley fighting vehicles were damaged and disabled by certain RPGs fired in narrow streets. So a quick background. So this particular unit, I was in the 2nd Armored Cavalry Regiment in, I came from the 2nd Armored Cavalry Regiment in Louisiana, and I PCS from Baghdad to Virginia. And as soon as I got to Virginia, we pretty much deployed. So when we got to country, when we got in the city, there was a checkpoint, and when we got to the checkpoint, the guys that were manning the checkpoint were acting really strange. And one of the guys was pulling his trigger finger, and they were acting real weird, and we didn't know because we have something called the MTS system. What it is basically like a tracking system that tracks the battle, and we wasn't looking at it. It's basically like a tech system. Or it's basically like it's basically just a tracking system, a GPS. And when you look at it, it tells you what parts of the town are lit up in red, is what towns are there's under attack, this and the third. Me, the platoon sergeant, and the convoy commander missed the call somehow, and we ran to the ambush along with the gun truck. So somebody fumbled the ball. So as we get into the city, I see the mosque, and it's almost like a haze over the city. As soon as we got into the city, a guy runs out with an AK-47, starts shooting the truck up in front of me. He killed the guy in front of me, shot him in his heart. Our platoon sergeant jumped on his lap and started driving. They shot my truck up, and then from both sides of the road, we just caught enemy gunfire of AK-47. So we take gunfire for probably about a mile and a half, and then we realize when we get to the end of the road that we can't go anymore because the road's closed off. So we had to turn back around, go back through the same enemy-held gunfire, and by the time we get to the Camp Baker, which was manned by, it was an outfit called Blackwater USA, but they're under a different name right now. But they're pretty much ran by the Department of Defense. They're mercenaries, ex-Army Rangers, Delta Force, Navy SEALs, stuff like that. And they get paid a lot of money to do what they do, and they're good at what they do. So when we get to Camp Baker, the outside of Camp Baker is blocked off, and you have to go down a long road that there's barriers and stuff like that. So when we get to the barrier, my truck stops because they shot my truck up so bad that they shot the air tank out. So instead of my truck being the second truck, I'm now the first truck, and the lead truck, the guy is dead in the vehicle, and we have people that are bleeding to death. So my platoon sergeant is the driver, and I'm the TC, and he's the E7, and I'm the E4. So he said, you have to run around in the front of the truck and get us the fuck out of here. And I said, well, Sarge, I said, the truck is not gaining any air pressure, we're not gonna get out of here. He said, if you don't, we're gonna fucking die. So a miracle happened, the truck gained air pressure, and we got out of there, and we got to the front of Camp Baker, the fucking vehicle died again. So the guys from Blackwater came out, opened up the gates, put us in there, the Chinooks, not the Chinooks, but everybody got medevaced out, and it was a very fucked up situation, and it took us a long time to process, and around midnight, everybody started calming down. But unfortunately, the Middle Army had us pinned down, and they started shooting mortar rounds at us, and all our trucks were getting hit by mortar shells and all that type of stuff. So we tried to save as many trucks, but we couldn't. We only saved 5 trucks. So that was pretty much the battle on the job. A lot of stuff happened in between that I'll get into later, as far as Bronze Stars and Purple Hearts and all that type of stuff. But the main thing I wanted to relay about this particular battle was that the El Salvadoran Army, which was our allies, did a very good job, and they had one of the most unbelievable military stories, I think, in American history, with the way when they ran out of ammunition, they fixed bayonets and fought their way 2 miles back to Camp Baker. So if you ever get a chance, look up El Salvadoran Army, Najaf, Iraq, 2004, August 5th or August 27th, coalition forces, and just congratulate them guys on the job they did. So this is me signing off, and I'll be sharing more military stories, all type of stuff about the CIA and all type of crazy shit. So just tune into my TikTok channel, and I'll get back with you. Thank you.